I think my mask of sanity is about to slip.
Fine, chilling tortures in the house of horror. Inhuman indignity. Incredible experiments for all to see. Let the public be warned.
Very nice.
So I talked to you last year about the Tribeca lineup, about the especially the Midnight slash Escape from Tribeca. So Escape from Tribeca is the Midnight lineup, or it is not. Tell people who are watching this the difference, if there is a difference.
There is no difference now.
Okay.
We have combined Midnight and Escape. It's now called Escape from Tribeca, and
Cool.
it's a double wide serving of deliciousness. It's
Hell
all
yeah.
Escape.
Cool.
Yeah,
So
it's cool because I was going to say it allows us to sort of take everything that we did with Escape and expand it. So we have
Cool.
the Midnight was always 5 to 6 premieres at a world premieres and North American premieres. And with Escape, we established this sort of like anything goes kind of approach where we could do new films, we could do retros, we could do anniversaries. We've had panels, parties. So it's a way to combine that into a larger section where every year there's no sort of like rigid formula. Okay, we have to have 10 world premieres. We could do 6 world premieres, 4 events. You know, it allows it to be pretty nimble and to be kind of playful with it, which I think makes it pretty unique in a sort of genre section space of festivals.
cool. That's amazing. That's amazing. So what about this year? What can you tease about this year that you're really excited about? I know that there's an American Psycho 25th anniversary screening, which I am very excited about, and also there's some world premieres. So tell me a little bit about what y'all are most excited about on the lineup.
Well, go ahead, pal. Talk about some of the premieres.
Yeah, so one of the big ones that we're very excited about, I know people are going to be excited about, is Queens of the Dead. It is
Yeah.
Yeah, this one's cool. I know there's some awareness of this one because I know the director Tina Romero has been sort of out and about at like Comic-Con and stuff, but we're really excited to have the world premiere. As the name Romero suggests, she is the daughter of George Romero. So, and as Night of the Living Dead was my sort of Bible as a kid, that was my real like holy shit. That was my big sort of favorite horror movie as a kid, and Romero was like one of my heroes. It's very special to be able to do this. But what's cool about this film is that it honors obviously the legacy of Romero because it's a zombie movie, but it's not that much like his films. It's sort of her own thing. She's putting her own stamp on it. It's set in Brooklyn. There's a night of like a warehouse party that's going to be a drag show at the party, and all these partiers and promoters and drag queens. Their night gets disrupted by a zombie outbreak in Brooklyn. So it's sort of drag queens and partiers versus zombies, but played as a comedy. Very, very funny, very kind of fun, sort of lively, doesn't take itself too seriously. And it's just like a lot of fun. It's going to be a hell of a premiere screening. I think audiences are going to have a lot of fun with it. So that one's really exciting. Sort of seeing Romero's daughter kind of continue the lineage that he started. So that's one that we're particularly excited about. Another one, I'll do one more than Jonathan, you can jump in. Another one that I'm excited about is a film called Man Finds Tape. It's the debut of the 2 co-directors, Peter Hall and Paul Gandersman, from Austin. Peter actually programs for South by, so his name might be familiar to some people. But it's
Okay.
produced by the Rustic Films guys, Justin Benson,
Yeah.
Aaron Moorhead, Dave Lawson, who are Tribeca alums. And this is in the sort of vein of like Lake Mungo and Norai the Curse, the sort of faux doc kind of, sort of multi POV style found footage documentary type of film about a murder that happens in this small town in Texas that gets caught on a surveillance camera that leads down a rabbit hole of this brother and sister who sort of uncover this sort of bigger cosmic sort of horror conspiracy in their town. And it's a lot of fun. It's very kind of weird and unpredictable. And it's Lake Mungo stylized is similar, but it's much more of like a fun audience movie, whereas Lake Mungo obviously is very sort of bleak and sad and cerebral. So it's a little closer to Norai the Curse if I had to sort of pick the two that it most resembles.
Oh,
It's
that's like
like-
speaking my language. As a found footage freak, Blair Witch Project, and Roy the Curse tattoo I have on my wrist as well. That is very exciting to hear. Yeah.
This
Yeah.
is like a Lovecraft, Texas found footage psychotronic fun fest. It's great.
Yeah. Now,
Talk about the other one of your heroes that were world premiering.
Oh yeah, so I'm a huge Wu-Tang fan. So we have RZA directed his 4th feature, this film called One Spoon of Chocolate. Not a horror movie, but it's more of how horror fans dig some of the kind of Indonesian action films and sort of Timo Tjanto, brutal, that sort of world of like how horror fans can respond to that kind of stuff. This is more in that sort of lane. It's so it's a revenge action movie, sort of blaxploitation inspired story about this military veteran who gets out of jail, played by Shamik Moore, who's the voice of the Miles Morales in the Spider-Verse movies. He plays a character named Unique who moves down to Ohio to live with his cousin, who's his only surviving family member. But this town in Ohio is sort of run by this evil racist sheriff and his like minion of equally racist sort of underlings. And they're obviously doing some really bad stuff to people in the town, and it sort of hits home for him, and he has to go on a revenge spree involving obviously fists, but a hammer and a samurai sword, and it's very much a bleak, bloody, brutal revenge film, but it also has something to say, and there's a lot of good character work, so it's deeper than just action and brutality. But as a Wu-Tang fan and as Riz is on like my Mount Rushmore of sort of pop culture people, along like Rod Serling and a few other people. So
That's so
I'm
cool.
very
We get to program that then and get to have it be a world premiere. That's so cool.
Yeah, so that's definitely what I'm excited about, and I'll let Jonathan take over from here because there's a few that he's particularly excited about. I haven't mentioned it.
Real quick, is RZA coming to the premiere though? Is he going to come and are you going to get to meet him?
Yeah, he will be there. Absolutely. It's one of those like I'm gonna hopefully get to meet him, but it's also one of those like sometimes you want to kind of keep certain heroes at a distance because you don't want to So I'm like kind of like I'll get to meet him, but I also if I don't get to meet him, he's always going to be that like sort of favorite person of mine. So.
Hell yeah.
Don't meet your
That's so
heroes,
cool.
is what you're saying. Whereas one of my heroes is coming, everybody's hero, David Cronenberg, is coming to present Shivers. They came from within 50th anniversary screening. Never been to the festival before. We are unbelievably excited. Joe Hill is coming to moderate and interview him. So it's like a double header of fantasticness. It's going to be an amazing night. So that's like a
so
super
cool.
yeah, super cool. He doesn't get to talk about Shivers a lot, and we were like, "You wanna?" And he's like, "Shit, yeah, that's amazing." So it's gonna be great. And Joe Hill was like, "Thanks for thinking of me." And what you love is that folks just really love to just be asked. We all
Yeah.
assume, we put these folks on pedestals, rightly in some ways, but Joe Hill's like, "You thought of me? That's so nice. Thanks, man. How
Yeah.
cool would that be?" So
That's so cool.
he's really excited. So it's gonna be awesome. And
That's so
Mary
cool.
Harron is coming to talk about with
Oh,
them.
so
Yeah, so
cool.
cool, right? And Hassan Minaj is going to interview her, which is going to be fantastic, right? It's going to be an amazing panel. We may have Chloe Sevigny come in, and we may have Patrick Bateman himself may come in. He can't commit now. He's shooting a movie, and he's like, if I can come, it's a Saturday. If I'm not shooting, I'll be there. So I cannot say like
Oh my
Christian
God.
Bale will be there, but oh my God, Christian Bale could be
I
there.
saw that movie at an impressionable age that was probably too young, and that movie changed my life. So that's so cool.
It wasn't too young. It was exactly the right time to change your life, and now you've got revenge behind you, and
Yeah.
and and you work
I
with.
read the book too. Yeah, I read the book in high school too, and I was just like, yeah, I'm American Psycho pilled, to put it lightly.
So when you were walking around high school carrying American Psycho, was that like it's like we were talking about earlier, what do you see on the walls and how does that separate the men from the friends from the not friends? If people saw you walking around with American Psycho, did they know exactly who you were and they
Yeah,
either
well, yeah, they
wanted to
already
hang out
kind
with
of had an idea of who I was. It was kind of par for the course at that point in
you? Yeah,
high school.
it's fantastic. It's groovy.
Yeah, par for the course for me was reading books like that and talking
Yeah,
about
for all
them.
of us, everyone
Yeah,
watching this podcast or this show right now is like, yeah, fuck yeah, I want to come see American Psycho.
yep,
So that
exactly.
that's going to be amazing. And of
Cool.
course, it's a movie that just gets better and better and seems truer and more timely than ever. It's really a classic now. Um,
So,
yeah.
oh, sorry, no, I just wanted to ask another
No,
question,
no,
but go
we
ahead.
also have a one time only. I'm really excited about this. The folks who are watching know who Andy Milligan is. If you don't, they're going to be like, why do I know that name? Andy Milligan is the Ghastly One. He's the subject of that incredible biography, The Ghastly One by Jimmy McDonough. And
Ooh.
there's a documentary about him going to be that we're going to show in world premiere called The Degenerate. He gets all these great names, The Ghastly One and The Degenerate. But we also, thanks to Severin Films, and I'm sure everyone's familiar with the work of Severin Films, they have rediscovered in vaults in France and Belgium lost Milligan films. A film called Kiss. These are not horror films, these are grindhouse exploitation films. Kiss Me, Kiss Me, Kiss Me, and The Degenerates have not been screened in over 50 years, and we're going to have a one-time only double feature with trailers from the era, including Mad Doctor of Blood Island and the Man with Two Heads, a Milligan classic. It's going to be an amazing grindhouse movie experience that we call the Andy Milligan Time Machine. And Jimmy McDonough
Cool.
wrote the book about Russ Meyer called Big Bosoms and Square Jaws, and he wrote about Milligan. The Ghastly One is going to introduce this. It's going to be a really, really fantastic evening at the theater.
That's so cool. Well,
Yeah.
and I'm curious for both of you, but maybe Matt, you even more because you program for several festivals. Working in like in the genre sphere, I know Escape from Tribeca is more than just horror, but in the genre sphere, what have you kind of seen just over the last year in terms of how horror is changing and shifting? Is there anything you've noticed? Is there something you're excited about that seems prevalent in the film, like themes that are coming up in the films that are going to be playing at the festival? Just I'm curious, as someone who watches so many of these movies,
Yeah,
how that,
for
yeah.
Yeah, so for the last couple of years specifically, but I think our program this year reflects it. There's been two things. One of them is emphasis on sort of fun and sort of like not, like
Yeah.
there was that wave of all these films I love, by the way, all the kind of sort of bleaker, like the A24 sort of films like that, where like they much more grief and trauma and all that, and those still exist, but I feel like in the last couple of years there's been more of an emphasis on trying to bring crowds in and sort of have more fun experiences. So you get kind of like a lot of slashers are being made again. It feels like sort of
Yeah.
fun type stuff. And our lineup specifically this year, every film, all the films have a kind of an energy to them, and sort of they're like vibrant and they're fun and they're loose. And I think there's an emphasis on that because I'm sure probably coming out of COVID and just where the world's at, where the country's at, and everything. Will turn on the news, and there's just so much to stress you out that a lot of filmmakers I feel like are turning to films as a way to like give people an outlet. You know what I mean? And to tackle some
Mm.
issues obviously, and not to avoid what's going on in the world, but to present it in a way that sort of gives you an escape, pun intended, I guess, for us. But so there's that, and I also feel like there's an interesting sort of I've noticed it for Tribeca and also doing Brooklyn Horror that a lot of sort of hybrid type films, a lot of films that aren't just fitting in one genre necessarily.
Yeah.
It's very hard to find just like a straightforward haunted house movie these days, or a straightforward, whatever sort of possession movie. A lot of films are playing with tones in a different way, and it feels like I think that kind of connects to having fun, where filmmakers are feeling a bit looser. And so you'll have horror films, but they also dabble in sci-fi a little more, fantasy. So even with like if you're looking for like a straightforward scary movie, they're out there. Like I see Oddity behind you. Like that's a great example of a recent film that was like genuinely trying to scare you. But even that one's fun, right? Like it has a kind of
Yeah.
like a comedy vibe to it. So that's one thing I've noticed is just there's an emphasis on letting loose a little bit and trying to give audiences a sort of more of a fun experience, which benefits us because that's what Escape from Tribeca sort of was birthed from, was this idea of bringing audiences in and trying to and give them a good time again.
Yeah. No, I've seen that too. It feels like there's a little bit more fun to be had, which I like. I like that balance. I feel like the pendulum that like I always think of as like the genre pendulum is like kind of swinging back towards fun slash like the middle a little bit. Which again, I love all of it, but it's cool to see how genre is kind of being played with a lot more in the space. It's cool to
Yeah, I
see
mean, look
people
at
are
Sinners.
adapting that.
Sinners, the biggest movie in the world now. I mean, that's an
Yes.
audience movie, right? And a lot of stuff coming out this summer. If you look at the sort of big horror movies coming out, I mean, Bring Her Back. We haven't seen that yet, but those filmmakers proved to talk to me that they know how to make a fun popcorn movie that's still scary, but also is entertaining. You know what I mean? So if you look at the sort of
Yeah.
everything coming, Weapons, Zach Kreger movie, I'm sure that's going to be an event.
Oh,
Like it's a lot of like event movies or fun crowd movies because I'm sure it connects to, studios want to make these movies. They want to get people in the theaters just so they can get the box office going again and stuff, So
Yeah.
they're trying to make it as fun as possible. And I think our program reflects that this year for sure.
Absolutely. And it's cool to not just see IP. I mean, you wouldn't do that at a
Yeah.
festival, obviously, but it's cool. It's just like, I don't know. It's always a cool horror. It's always a good time for horror, but right now, especially, it feels like a really good time to be a horror fan and getting into horror. If you're a new horror fan, it's a good time to get into horror,
Yeah,
especially.
people want to see horror movies in the theater. Again, horror has always been a place, a thing that you go out to see communally. Yeah, work's
Yeah.
fun at home, but it's like, well, I thought this was really scary when I saw it in the theater. It's never quite the same as when you see
Hereditary,
it
when I
in the
saw
theater.
Hereditary in the movie theater, nothing was could beat the experience of seeing that. I'm seeing Bring Her Back tonight. I can't wait for what that theatrical experience is going to be like. And I feel like y'all's
Us too. You're
program
going to be
really
where
does
you're going to
like,
be. You're going to be in Brooklyn. We're going to be there.
no, I'm in DC. I'm in Washington, DC.
Okay.
I
You're going
know.
to
No, really, living here is right now, especially.
the
Ugh.
horror. There's probably
But
a zombie movie to be made right at shooting at your window right now.
I've thought about it quite a few times, to be honest. But like I do love how you the program of your program for Escape is both films that people like probably have desperately wanted to see on the big screen, like Shivers, but then also new stuff. And the way that you're embracing that communal aspect even more is just so exciting,
Yeah,
especially
we
in New York
we
City of all
we
places.
in New York City, well, we're trying to do a big, a fan experience with as much giveaway stuff as possible. We want people to say as they come away, like, I couldn't have had that experience anywhere but at Escape, or going out to the theater. So
Hell yeah.
we're really lucky to get to do it. It's incredible. It's really fun.
All right, so can y'all please remind people watching when Tribeca is happening and where people can buy tickets or passes to the festival?
They can go to tribecafilm.com, and the festival is June 4th through the 15th. So
So everyone, there'll be
yeah,
links in the description for that as well, obviously, and all that info. But yes.
Yeah, and
and
there's
that's a
our
sneak peek at our poster.
sneak
Yeah,
peek at our new poster that was is hot off the digital press.
Hell yeah.
Cannot wait. And there's going to be a very groovy little teaser trailer that you'll find too with a bunch of our footage. We have an incredible
Oh,
animated
cool.
film called Dog of God. That's a witch werewolf movie from Latvia.
Yeah, that looks so
Fucking awesome,
good.
awesome movie.
yeah, it's it's
You know,
it's a throwback to that kind of heavy metal Ralph Bakshi sort of adult animation
Yeah.
that doesn't really exist anymore. And yeah, it's these
Oh
three brothers.
man, I'm on a Ralph
Yeah,
Bakshi kick right now, like watching his stuff this year. So that's very exciting to hear. I love that like rotoscoping animation style.
exactly,
It's so
yeah, there
exactly.
hasn't been a film like there hasn't been an animated film like this in a very long time. There was that film, The Spine of Night, a few years ago that kind of dabbled a little bit thematically, but
yeah.
this is even 10 times weirder and crazier. And these three brothers from Latvia, two of them directed, one's a DP, and it's really handmade and it's bonkers. So yeah, I think you're gonna dig it.
You gotta love it.
So cool. Well, everyone, Escape from Tribeca, one of the coolest genre programs out there. And thank you so much to the both of you, Jonathan and Matt, for chatting with me again about it. I really appreciate it.
Our pleasure.
Always a
Thank
pleasure.
you.
Hopefully,
Thank
we'll
you.
see you. Take a train, take a
I
flight,
know, seriously. I'm just gonna have to train up there.
come up and hang. We hope to see all of you guys. If you come up, say hi. Really, we drink beer, so say hello.